I think it is a good moment, especially now that Joe Duffy has announced his retirement from RTE after 37 years. He's going to hang up the headphones. I hope. Let's hope he's not moving on somewhere else. Damage is done. But just to give a flavour of what he was up to and what Liveline were saying about you at this time, and of course, you really were the stick in the spokes of this whole narrative about the deadly virus and this pandemic, and you were ruining it. So this is one of the calls that went into Liveline. Let's just pause up and listen.
5815. Hello, good afternoon, and you're very welcome to Liveline. 51551. Please remember to wash your hands every time you hear that number. Indeed, every time you feel the need to wash your hands, and even if you know the number of times you've washed your hands today, you haven't washed them enough. Maureen Lawler. Maureen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
You're in Selbridge in County Clare. Why have you in County Kildare? Why have you contacted us?
Well, at the end of yesterday's programme, I only got the end of it. You were talking to a lady about vaccination programme.
Yeah.
And I know you asked her a question about whether a doctor could opt out of the scheme, and she didn't actually answer the question in full. So my question was, can a doctor opt out of the vaccination programme? And if he so does want to do this, should he advise his patients of his decision and direct them to where they could get vaccinated, and maybe even give them a telephone number? Because the doctor here, one of the doctors here in Selbridge, is refusing to give the vaccination to anybody. His question was to an elderly couple that went to him on Monday, and I live in a complex where there's a lot of elderly people, was that he wouldn't put a vaccination in an arm that he wouldn't put in his own arm. So he obviously feels strongly about the vaccine. What would worry me then with these people here, and I'm speaking on behalf of about 5 or 6 of them that I know are registered with this particular doctor, and now they don't know where to go because he's refusing to administer the injection.
So I'll just pause it there. But they go on to name you, and I know you were invited onto the show. I was actually looking for the clip, but you put me right on that. So there is no clip because you didn't actually go on the show. Fine. But it was so revealing at the time, and it really shows. I think this is a great piece for the archives to show you the mentality at the time. You, as a doctor with 40 years experience, you couldn't even tell your patients, your clients, listen, there's nothing to worry about. Because of the RT brainwashing, because the messaging was so severe, we know by the end of 2020 there were no excess deaths. So that's some kind of funny pandemic. If there were no excess deaths, it was a case-demic through the faulty use of the PCR test. We know that now. But that's what you were up against. Did you know that lady who went on to Liveline?
Yeah, I knew the apartment block that she was in, sort of a kind of an apartments for elderly people. I knew her. So presumably I hadn't met her. Funny, I'd never heard that. I never heard that interview. I never heard her before. I knew that she had complained, but I hadn't actually heard that clip. So thanks for that. No, I didn't know her, but I think I had contact with her. I'm sure I had contact with her doing house calls, because I was one of the few GPs who continued to do house calls, well, for the last 10 years. But, prior to that, I was in and out doing house calls, so I would have known. No, I hadn't heard that. Yeah, I don't know what happened after that. Like, what did Joe say or do or...
Oh, let me go back. Do you want to go back and listen to another little bit of it?
Yeah, okay, I wouldn't mind hearing the rest of it.
Okay, let me go back to the shared screen again. Just pressing me buttons. It's not like RTE here, I'm afraid. This is a one-woman production show.
We haven't got enough staff, actually.
You can't find the staff these days. Here we go again.
You can't get good staff.
I would worry that if an elderly person actually fears that their own doctor, who they may have been with for years and trusted the doctor,
yeah, of course,
that they may feel that, well, should I be questioning this? Should I really receive the vaccine? Because they could go home and make a different decision, and maybe it could affect their life and other people around them. So my question was, can a doctor do this and give such bad vibes.
And did this doctor, by the way, the doctor is Dr. Gerry Waters in the White Town Clinic in Celbridge, County Kildare, because we've spoken to him, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to him on air if he wishes. But so far he doesn't. But he's told us his position, which I'll read out now in a sec. But you say your friends were told, "I will not put this vaccine." This is the doctor. I will not put this vaccine into any person's arm that I won't put into my own arm. But
correct.
Did he follow up by saying, however, there is Dr. Mary Murphy, for argument's sake, down the road, and she will look after my patients who want the vaccine?
Not at all. That was the whole problem when they questioned, well, if you won't do it, can't do it, I don't want to do it, where can we go? Mm-hmm. And the answer was, I don't know, you'll have to find out yourselves. The couple in question did ring the HSE afterwards, and they tried to get information. The lady was quite helpful. But she said they hadn't come across this before and that she would have to speak to her supervisor.
They hadn't come across it before. Let's just get your reaction to it now so far. So what do you make? This is the first time you've actually heard this Liveline clip. And it's from February 2021. Can I just get your reaction?
I'm remarkably proud of what my stance was then, given how right I was. Given how right I was not to put that messenger RNA into my own arm or my patient's arms, and refusing to be complicit. I'm surprised at my strength to actually not become in some way complicit in it by giving out the name of somebody else who would commit the crime for me. I'm actually thrilled, as it happens, with my response. It is all kind of there's the fog of time that has actually I've forgotten what had gone on, but now in retrospect I'm so proud that was my response, because I was so right. And when she says maybe they made a different decision, I would hope so. And if they did, they've got a much better chance. If they're the elderly, presumably we're talking about there, they've got a much better chance of being alive today than if they had taken the vaccine, because we all know that the vaccine killed people. Not only killed people, you realize that an awful lot of the deaths were that they were accusing COVID of were in effect COVID vaccine deaths, because they didn't consider you vaccinated until after 2 weeks after the administration. So if you died within 2 weeks of the vaccine, and tens of thousands of people in the world did, they considered you a COVID death rather than a COVID vaccine death. This is how crazy the lies and the subterfuge and the mendacity was. I'm so proud of myself from then.
Yeah, and you should be. It's beautiful, and that's the thing about the truth. The truth will hold, and it will grow, and it keeps its power. It keeps its staying power, and you can pull it out at any time, and it still holds. But the lie.
Thank you, Aisling, for bringing that up, because I feel so much better.
Good.
Having heard that was my stance. That I said, no, I won't give it, and I won't be complicit.